All right, so my name is Gabe. I'm with API Nation. Leslie Ann is here with me, and we are talking today about dotloop Google Sheets. And we bring this to you because we have built this out after talking to a lot of agents, a lot of brokers, admins, transaction coordinators about additional tools they would like to see with dotloop. So we built out a whole swath of tools. Actually, I'll show you a little bit later. But we built out a whole swath of tools. A lot of them have to do with the Google Suite, which is pretty much ubiquitous at this point. Most people are using a Gmail. They've been invited to use a Google Doc or a Google Sheet. If you have an Android phone, you're probably using Google Contacts and most of the Google Suite. So these tools that sync dotloop with the Google Suite, super useful. It makes your productivity through the roof if you connect it so you don't have to manage individual apps. So let me give you a little bit of background. API Nation, we are all about connecting the world's applications, and we've started with real estate, and we've started deep with real estate. We sat down with brokers and agents, like I said, transaction coordinators, to find out exactly what apps you guys are using and how you use them. So there are a lot of other platforms. There's a few other platforms out there that will allow you to connect apps. But we've actually just focused on real estate. We've asked, what are you guys trying to accomplish? What information is actually relevant to sync over from a platform like dotloop? And we've made it basically a one button push, because you don't want to have to sit there and watch 19 YouTube videos just to turn this thing on. You just want to hop in, sign in, say, that's my dotloop, send it to this Google Sheet, and then away you go. And then from there, you can just get back to business that's running better than ever. So that's what we do, API Nation, connecting the world's applications, specifically real estate right now. And today we're going to talk about dotloop Google Sheets. 3 things we really want to talk about. The first is that by connecting dotloop to Google Sheets, you're going to get complete control of your contacts, especially as an admin, a transaction coordinator, a broker owner, the contacts that your whole office is using. Tough to keep track of. That's kind of what you've seen too. Is that right, Lizanne?
Yeah, and in addition to that, when you connect the Google Sheets to your transaction management system like dotloop, you're getting a really good sense, a good data set of real clients versus something that might be in your CRM that might have leads, it might have people that didn't come to fruition, etc. Your transaction, in this case, your transaction people should be people that you've done business with before and really, really solid gold.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of people treat their CRM as kind of a dumping ground of all their leads, which is definitely a strategy. But by the time they get to dotloop, you have probably seriously investigated a transaction with them, or started or finished a transaction with them. So these are actual people you've done business with. And having all those people in a single location, no matter what happens, they will always be there in a sheet, in that spreadsheet, a nice list. That's what we're talking about, complete control of those contacts. And we'll show you exactly what that looks like. The other couple things we're going to talk about is creating filters and reports. So if you guys are admins, brokers, you probably have opened up a spreadsheet before and moved some things around. And if you haven't, we'll show you a few things, but most of you probably have. And so you know the power of having things in a spreadsheet, being able to filter individual columns to find out exactly, to find the exact loops or contacts that you need, instead of having to try and navigate around dotloop, and then just have an easy, clean sheet of all those loops that meet the criteria you want, so that you can quickly add them up, quickly check them against your advertising budget to see what the ROI is, all those great things. And then the last thing is dotloop Google Sheets really makes it easy to share with collaborators outside of dotloop. So for example, we'll get into this a little bit more, but as you do this work in dotloop, you like Leslie Ann said, you do create a awesome list of people who you've done business with in the past that you want to keep in contact with, most likely. And your business will then have a sheet that you can hand over to a marketing company and say, hey, this is these people, there's their email addresses. Here's their physical addresses. If you want to send, one of those awesome white label magazines to keep your business front of mind for them. If you want to put them on an email list so that your brokerage can email them a couple times a month to let them know, hey, we are the real estate team that you should trust. All that stuff is really easily handled using a spreadsheet that's created from dotloop. So those are the three big things, the three big strategies we've seen brokers and admins and transaction coordinators use with this. That is by no means the limit, though. You guys are savvy business people, real estate agents and brokers. You guys push the boundaries of using apps from what I've seen. So I'm sure as we watch this, it'd be great as we go through this. If you see anything, see any new strategies, call them out. Let's talk about it a little bit, and maybe this this mind meld of the people on this webinar can hone it and get this thing tuned up, and we can all leave here better off. So that is about it. Leslie Ann, did you have anything?
No, that's great. I was just going to ask people, beside the 3 points that you just made, if anyone is using the Google Sheets dotloop integration currently for any other purposes, if you want to put a shout out in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. Or yeah, if there's the other thing would be, is it if you think of something that you'd like it to do, maybe it already does and is totally slipped my mind, but and then I can show you how to do that.
Awesome.
Cool. Let me show you first of all how to get this thing set up. And that should take 2 minutes because it's so easy. That's our whole thing, is making apps connect and making them connect easily. So you guys, can you see a big window that says Google? Go ahead and throw a 1 in that chat if that is what you guys have on your screen currently. Otherwise, I got to figure out what's going on here.
You can see
I got
it.
a lot of 1s.
Awesome.
Cool. So I'm going to go to dotloop here. And sign out of this guy. So I'm actually just going to go straight to dotloop.com first. And when you're in dotloop, you can see at the bottom there is an integrations directory link. And I think they might have it somewhere else, but that's where I know it is. So I'm going to click that. And that's going to take you to all the little tools that dotloop has for connecting to other apps. And they have a lot of integrations. Dotloop's really made it a priority to make sure a lot of the apps you use, most agents use upwards of 30 apps every day. So they've made it a priority to make sure most of the apps you use connect to dotloop seamlessly. And you can see these have a little API Nation badge on them. And these are the ones we've made super easy to use. It's basically a single button to launch this thing. So we have Dropbox, Google Calendar, Google Contacts, Google Sheets. And some of these are great. Google Sheets is going to be great for brokers. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's also great for agents. But as you got some of you guys are CTOs or admins of your office. Maybe you guys want to let them know about like the Google Contact Sync, or if you guys are using Outlook, the Outlook Contact Sync. Let your agents know about that. It's a huge time saver. It helps them stay more organized. And then this Google Calendar Sync, especially that one's free. Turn that one on. Have all your agents turn that one on. That way, the dates that are on the loops get synced to their phone, get synced to their normal Google Calendar, and they don't miss, a contract date, an end date, an inspection date, none of that stuff. It always shows up on their phone. They have an agenda every day, and like I said, free. So check that one out for your team. Let's talk about Google Sheets. So now that we're in dotloop under integrations and directory, I'm just going to click activate. And that's going to take me to API Nation to set this thing up. And here we go. Like I said, super easy. I'm just going to click connect dotloop. And I'm going to sign into dotloop. And it's going to ask me, is this okay? We're going to connect your account to API Nation. Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to do right now. Let's do it. So I'm going to hit approve. And then from here, if you're not signed into Google, it'll go ahead and ask you to sign into Google. I use Google every day, so I'm going to click Connect Google Sheets, and it's going to show me the 2 accounts I've currently signed into. And I want to use my work account, because I'm creating a spreadsheet for work. And I'll go ahead and do that and allow. And this is basically it. This is like I said, we try and make it super easy. So you know how to sign into dotloop, you know how to sign into Google. You're 99.9% there. Now it's just a matter of choosing which profiles you want to sync. As an admin in dotloop, you probably have access to a bunch of individual and company profiles. Most likely, you probably just want all the company profiles. But if you want to include all the individuals as well, just click that. Or you can go through and just select a single company profile. I would just leave them all on if you're going for company, either all the company or all the individual. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all my company profiles, and I want to sync all existing loops into my dotloop account. This looks great. You can double check. This is the dotloop I'm syncing. This is especially important if like Beth, you are the admin for more than one office. You're going to want to make sure you're syncing the correct office to the correct Google account. So double check that. This account's going there. And then we're just going to hit start. And that's it. You've signed into dotloop. You signed into Google. You went ahead and selected which profiles you want to synced. And then you launch it. And now that it's up and rolling, this should take me, here we go. So it takes me over to my syncs, just in case I want to manage this, turn them on, turn them off, delete them, or explore some additional apps. So you can see we use plain English to tell you exactly what these individual little robots, these little automations, or we call them workflows or syncs, what they're doing. This one is syncing loops to Google Sheets. So you'll have a whole sheet that's all loops. This one is syncing active loops, so that if a loop gets closed or archived, it will no longer be on this sheet. So this is a nice sheet that's filtered already just for loops that are active. This is their people. This is your participants. And these are participants from active loops. So again, we've already talked to a lot of agents and brokers to find out exactly what would be most useful. And a lot of them said having a sheet of just the active people. That way I can quickly get to the people who are most immediately relevant. That's super nice. But having this, whole 1,000-foot view data, or 1,000-foot view, look at my data where all the loops, all the people, all the participants, also nice. So those are what we've sent, and these things will run all the time. So even though you've launched it now, it's going to go ahead and go back in time and start working its way forward. And any changes you make, any work you do in dotloop will be reflected in the Google Sheet. It creates a real-time spreadsheet of all the work you're doing in Google. So let's go take a look now.
For our active loops as well, that would be really good to use the data in those for maybe forecasting, or looking at where my revenue is coming from, at what stage a transaction's at, those kind of things. Would that be useful there too?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can use it for a ton of different things, but yeah, definitely knowing exactly what's going on currently in the business, what's on my desk right now, not what's in the file cabinet, but what loops are currently in front of me, I'm looking to finish up and put away. That's kind of a nice thing. So let me company loops. All right, so let me kind of show you here. I am now in Google Drive. So there's a few really nice things that we talked about for this spreadsheet. So we talked about it being really nice for contacts. So here we go. It started at the top of our contacts and slowly filling out the data that we have in our contacts. So all the people we've done business with, all these people that are in, let's show you where they're coming from. All these people that live in the dotloop people module right here. Yeah, so this is great. This is nice, but it's kind of hard to see. You can only get these 3 columns: Alyssa, her email, and then what would be her phone number. And if I want to see more, I have to click down on Alyssa And now I can see all this information. But once you sync it out to a Google Sheet, all that information is thrown on a single sheet, and then you can go ahead and run reports on it, or like I said, filter for it. So let me show you quickly how to filter. So let's say, and this is, this is pulling people over in batches. So already Alyssa's come over. And then if I were to refresh this or come back in about 15 minutes, this would blow out to, another 100 people have been pulled over. But like I said, kind of want to see what's going on. We can run a filter, and we can filter just for people with email addresses. So let's do clear out the blanks. Bam, there we go. These are all our current profiles, or all our current people with email addresses. And I can take and use these for an email list. I can take and use these for a quick blast. Super easy. And then I don't have all these irrelevant contacts that I'm trying to contact. So you could do that. Or if you want to go by role, looks like we have one role come over so far. That is this person who is a buyer. So if you want to just get a quick list of all your buyers, all your agents, any of the other roles that you've added to dotloop and the dotloop people, that is great. So like I said, there is your contacts all ready to go. And we do that for people. And then we do it specifically also for participants. So once you add them to a loop, we take that information and kind of blow it out even more. We talk about the loop that they're currently added to. We give you a URL. So if you want to kind of take a look at it, I can click through and it'll take me right to that loop. There it is. Sweet. So that is the loop that Urbandale is involved with. And then the status, if you want to quickly run a report for, how the loops are, which loop is in which status, and how they're moving through the funnel. And then you can also run a report for when a loop was last touched. So if a loop, if you want to kind of find out which loops need to be archived or taken out of the immediate workspace, you can just see, oh, nobody's touched this loop in a while. I'm going to hop in there, click on it, archive it. Super easy. It makes keeping everything organized a lot easier. So that is kind of the contact piece. Did I miss anything, Leslie Ann? I feel like there's so much you could do here with contacts now that everything's in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it, Gabe. And I think there's, I know that everyone's dotloop database is going to have a lot more transaction data in it than our demo does here, so that you can look at more granular information about each transaction, the status, the amount, the time for close, the time, and those sorts of parameters. So you can really get into looking at some reporting here that is really valuable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Your information is going to be way more relevant, obviously, to what you're doing. So, and that's kind of also kind of an interesting feedback we've gotten from people who turn this on. Once they turn this on as an administrator, they start to realize that, oh man, we are not entering like super useful data into our dotloop. We should really buckle down, because if we collect all this useful data in a single place where I can quickly run reports out of, I can have like a really powerful set of data to use out there. So I'm at that point, usually the admin, the transaction coordinator, the broker, then they start to kind of go on a little campaign to, hey, you guys go ahead and fill out those loops completely, get me all the information so that I can see more about how my business is doing. And it's just a slight step for everybody who's working in dotloop to take that extra step and add the extra fields. But it gives you a way better picture of how your real estate business is doing. So that's contacts. And I kind of already showed you filtering for those things and the power of that. But let me show you loops. Looks like loops are on their way over. Let's see here. Active company. Oh, maybe we don't have any active company loops. That could be very well be. And once you sync these to Google Drive, just kind of to highlight something else. Once you sync them to Google Drive, they're easy to find. You just hop in here, click dotloop. It'll be called dotloop loops, dotloop loop participants, dotloop people. So here is the loops. Oh, that's loop participants again. Let's find those dot loop loops. Dot loop loops. Company loops. Here we go. All right, so here is all the information from your dot loop loop. So let me kind of show you. You guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but just in case, when you open up your loop, there is this details. There is this details, here we go, details area. And all this stuff, like I said, you want to fill out. You should be encouraging your agents to fill out more. That way you have super useful data in this spreadsheet. So this is all that information in a single spreadsheet so that you can quickly run reports, create charts. It makes it really easy to see exactly how the business is doing. And like you see, this is a ton of info. Let me actually kind of show you. I'm going to show you exactly what fields are pulled. Let's paste, transpose. Here we go. So you got the loop name, URL, the roles of the all these different roles, who they are, the information about the loop, country, street number, then the commission rate, some financial information, the dates like I was talking about earlier for your agents. These dates, if you turn on that Google Calendar sync, we'll send you a link to share with your agents. But it's a free sync, and these dates will then get synced to their Google Calendar, their phone, so that they don't miss them. And then just information about the home, square footage, ID, phone address. So all that stuff gets synced into a single loop so that you can quickly run reports on it. And like I said, this is a live real-time sheet of all the work that's happening in dotloop. So when you're looking at this, absolutely you can filter it. But additionally, you can hop into a second sheet, and any reports or charts you create in this second sheet based on the raw data in that first sheet, it'll always be updated. It'll always be the freshest stuff. You won't have to come in here and rerun it every time. You just have to pop open this spreadsheet, check out your reports on sheet 2, and that stuff's going to tell you exactly what your business is doing right now. Cool. Do we have any questions so far? You can throw it in the Q&A area or the chat area if you're thinking about anything, if you're noodling on anything. Definitely let us know. Anything else in the loops area there, Leslie?
No, not. I think you covered a lot of it. I know we have a couple of transaction coordinators here, but I think that there's really good value for having this extra sheet here of information as you're managing not only a brokerage and understanding what's going on in the brokerage, but also then managing transactions for maybe several different brokerages. I'm not sure if our TCs on the call are independents or otherwise, but this is a great way to stay organized and have all your data in one place for your particular transactions that you're managing.
Yeah, and then you can see how easy it is to make a chart. I just highlighted if I wanted to know what the breakdown was, purchase offers versus listing for sales, just highlighted it. Here, let me do it again, just to kind of show you, just in case. So if I just kind of want a breakdown of a single column, I can just highlight it, hit insert chart. I'm going to aggregate the data. I don't want individual things. And then it's going to actually create a suggested chart. So it's just some slight changes here. It looks like the header, this transaction type, this first thing, I want to use that as a header. So I'm going to click that. And now I have a breakdown of purchase offer versus listing for sale. And you can do that with almost any of these, things that you want to break down for. And you can choose different charts. Let's do a pie. You can see I'm doing mostly purchase. And like I said, you could put this on that second page.
Hey, Gabe, there was a quick question while you're doing that from Beth. And Beth, you may want to clarify. Beth asked, is there a way to pull specific data into an existing Google Sheet? Is there a specific data set or a specific piece of data that you're looking for, Beth?
Yeah, we'll have to double check. So if she is looking for, I guess my guess would be if she wanted to just pull yeah, okay, so address, sales price, closing data,
Yep.
buyer, seller, to pull that into an existing Google Sheet. I'll have to double check on that, Beth. There used to be a way when I did this a couple years ago and I needed to solve that exact issue. There used to be a way to sort of embed specific information or a whole sheet from another Google Sheet. So you could kind of share across various Google Sheets. I'll double check on that to see if that's possible still, or if they close that. But if that's the case, then you could just embed this sheet in your existing sheet and then just pull out, the relevant data that you're looking for, the address, sales price, closing date, buyer, seller. That way you can still use that single sheet, but have all this information automatically populated live. So I'll double check on that, Beth, and I will email you how to do that when I
I'm almost
find
certain that's available. I mean, if it's certainly on Excel sheet. So, and I know they're very similar.
Yeah, I would be kind of surprised if it wasn't. The only thing I could think is every so often Google will release a super cool feature like that, and then a couple years later just make it go away for no good reason. I don't know why. They're Google. Who knows? Cool. So that is filtering, creating charts and reports. The last thing I wanted to show you, you guys probably already know all about this, but once you create these loops for individual profiles, oh, actually, yeah, you can do. Let me talk about that real quick. So going back to API Nation, you can run like we just ran the dotloop in Google Sheet for all my company profiles. And I can do this for individual profiles so that I have, or individual company sheets so that I have an already filtered sheet if I want to share it with a marketing company or an ISA or a VA, any of those things. So I would just go through here, and this time I would, just select, let's just do Nick. Or if you're just doing a company, let's just do a company actually. Let's do Champions Real Estate. So this will then create a sheet with all the information for people in the Champions Real Estate profile. And then, like I said, once you've created that, you can then talk about the loops or the people or the participants, and then just easily share that with the VA or the ISA or the marketing team that you want to go, contact them. You just hit the share button and then add their email address and kind of write them a quick note. So if I was going to share this with Leslie Ann, hey, be sure to include these people in the campaign. Super easy. You can do it that way. Or actually, I know a lot of agents, because you do so much work in Gmail, they will hop in here, they'll write compose, and then they will quickly just use this button right here, insert files using Drive, and then just look up that recent dotloop. There you go. Insert that, and then send that off to whoever you need to. So yeah, super shareable, easily to collaborate, and that is basically it as far as dotloop Google Sheets go, so that you can master your contacts, make sure you have complete control of them. They all end up in a nice spreadsheet. All your contacts that are in your entire dotloop account. So the agents, the contacts your agents add, the contacts your admins add, any updates anybody makes in there to phone numbers, email addresses, any of that stuff, it'll all be reflected live here. That way, it's tough to manage all these agents. And if somebody's going through and doing something, silly, and they lose or they take off and they forget to hand over all their agents or all their contacts, you don't need to get it from them before they leave. It'll just already have been copied for you into your dotloop spreadsheet. So yeah, complete control of your contacts. Easy to filter and create reports and get exactly who you need, the information you want so that you know how your business is doing, and easy to share. So you can take a list of contacts, a list of loops, and easily send it to your ISA, virtual assistant, your accountant if you are putting enough, if you're putting your financial data in there. Super easy. I think that is about it. We'll stay on a few more minutes to handle any questions you guys might have. I can also hop over here real quick just to give you guys a look at. We kind of looked at the dotloop integrations marketplace a minute ago. If you go to API Nation and click on dotloop, it'll take you to all the integrations we have, which we actually have a couple more here, kind of secret integrations. But we have stuff like Dropbox, QuickBooks, a Gmail integration, MailChimp, which makes it nice and easy to send out an email to everybody you've worked with in dotloop. Google Drive, which is something you should really consider if you are the admin, the CTO of an office. Turn this thing on, and not only do you get the spreadsheets, but all the docs additionally, all the PDFs that you put into dotloop will also get copied into folders in Google Drive, so that you have to keep everything for 7 years. This will automatically make copies of it and store it for you, so that if your audit comes up, it's already done. It's already ready for you in Google Drive. So that's kind of nice. And then all these other things, Google Contacts. Definitely tell your agents about Google Calendar and Google Contacts. It's going to make their life easier. And we'll send those links out so you can forward them along right after this. You got any?
Hey, Gabe,
Yep.
One other thing on the Google Drive for our broker owners or people, even admins, for that particular integration and then back up to the Google Drive, in addition to automating that whole process of all your loops go to and are backed up for you in addition, so you have them available, you can also add any other type of file, not just a PDF, but any other type of file. And as you all know, all of our transactions have all different kinds of files, and you can manually then add it to your transaction or your loop in this case and store it in and on the drive. So you don't miss anything, and you have everything in one place stored for the amount of time that your state requires, and is available and easier to share. I know your end of year statements to share with your clients, and those sorts of things are easily accessible and shareable from within the Google Drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the images, PNGs, anything you want to put, you can even put links in there. So as you're building out, all the information from your loop, drop it in there, and then you can keep track of it a little bit better. And that is about it. Yeah, so hop into dotloop, and then head on down to their integration marketplace, and you can sign up for this integration. We'll also send you the link so you can just hop right in and do it yourself in just a couple clicks. But yeah, just go down to dotloop.com, and then at the bottom, like I said, here's the integrations with all kind of the secret time-saving things that the productive brokers are using. And you're just going to come on down here to Google Sheets, hit activate. You'll get all that information about contacts, filtering, sharing. Makes it way easier. And if you have any questions, we're going to email this out, and just reply back. Leslie Ann and I are here at our computers, ready to answer anything you guys toss at us that pops up later. So that is about it. I really appreciate you guys joining us today. Thursday, we're going to hop back on. We're going to talk about Google Contacts. So Google Sheets is great for a lot of reasons, and Google Contacts is an awesome complement to running Google Sheets at the same time. It just makes a few things nice and easy, really simple, and it'll make your life as an office manager or a broker owner way easier. So join us Thursday, and we'll talk all about that. In the meantime, have a great week. Leslie Ann, thank you so much for joining me.
You too, Gabe. Thank you.
Yep.
Great job.
Yep. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.